it's Talia, the classroom doc, and I want to talk about something today that's a little less concrete than what I normally do, and that is the fixed identity, because of course, I talk about health, and part of health is the mind. And the idea of fixed identity is that many of us have this idea of who we are that becomes rigid. And it's given to us sometimes through an online personality test. As an interesting example, there's these personality tests, even say the Myers-Briggs, which is quite a popular one. And psychologists like Benjamin Hardy and Carol Dweck talk about the fixed mindset. But what he talks about is that there's very little evidence to these online personality tests. And the problem with them is that they give us the illusion, and in his opinion, that we have a fixed personality or that we really identify with. And these kind of tests, of course, will tell you have a type of personality. And then the problem with that is you take this identity that they then give to you, and we all have very strong tendencies for confirmation bias. So we will seek out evidence that confirms what we already think about ourselves, like, oh, I didn't raise my hand there because I'm an introvert. Things to confirm that. And he says that actually it's not true that we have a fixed personality. There's a lot of people out there that they have the idea of I'm trying to find myself, as if your self is some fixed thing and when you find that self, when you really grasp who you really are, then everything will be resolved. But what he says is that's not true, that actually our personalities can change. And this really resonated with me, not so much from personality tests, but I think of, and this might be relatable to you, I think of my family. My family and families in general, I'm grown up now relatively, they will always see you as you once were. They just have this tendency to not let go of and to bring it up and remind you of who you were as if that's who you still are. But my friends often see me very differently, and often they impart to me or they express to me what they see as a personality trait that's really literally the opposite of how my family sees me. And I've always thought, oh, that's very interesting. But now I understand it more as it's because we can and do evolve, especially if we intentionally set our minds to do that. If we see our future selves and we make efforts to evolve, we can in many respects be different. So unlike the saying that people never change, and maybe sometimes people don't change because they have a fixed mindset, and that fixed mindset is not always going to come from a personality test you did. It could be because you're in a situation where you have people that keep reminding you of who you once were, and you get so attached to that. Or maybe you had a sort of traumatic experience. You had someone you looked up to, or a mentor who told you that this is you and this is your limitations. So I think this is just a really important topic to know that focusing on your future self can be really helpful, and taking a look at and letting go of some of the traits that we assume we have. They also talk about how we look at other people who've accomplished things, and we tell ourselves it's because that's their essence, that's who those people are. They're special, they have those special skills, they have that kind of personality, when in many cases most people succeed because they work at it and they evolve, and sometimes things don't even come easily to them, but to us it looks like it. It looks like it just happened because that's who they are. So I hope you found that offered a lot of food for thought. And the takeaway is that be careful of some of the online information that it's kind of like fast food identity that tells you who you are, and there's maybe a lot of false information out there or limited information. Now, I'm not a psychologist, and But I'm just relaying information from people who are, smarter than myself in terms of in the science of the mind, the psychologists, and hoping that you can take something from this. If you have any thoughts about it, give me some comments. Interested to know, what was an identity that you had when you were a child that certain people don't want to let go of and keep reminding you of? Can you relate to that?